The great alien battleship Renthus Prime floated in the silent darkness of space, its silver hull shining like a small moon. Inside, the air was heavy, the lights dim, and every step echoed through the long metal corridors. Commander Kor, a scaled officer from the VRN species, walked fast toward the council chamber. His mind was troubled. The creature they had created had escaped. It had already destroyed 3 patrol fleets and 2 colonies. The council had gathered to find a way to stop it, but no one had a plan. When Kor entered the chamber, 12 alien elders sat in a half-circle, their faces cold and tired. The air smelled of metal and fear. "The creature must be destroyed before it reaches the outer worlds," one elder said. "We cannot face it again," another whispered. Their voices trembled. Kor stood tall and spoke. "We have tried ships, weapons, and traps, and all have failed," he said. "But there is one kind who might succeed." The room went silent. "A human," Kor finished. Laughter filled the room. "Harsh and bitter? A human?" One elder hissed. "Those primitive Deathworlders? They cannot even breathe our air without helmets." But Kor did not move. His voice stayed calm. "They fight monsters as if it is their nature. They survive on a world that kills everything else. If anything can stop the creature, it is a human." The council argued for hours. Some called him mad, others curious. Finally, the High Elder leaned forward, his eyes glowing in the dim blue light. "You will take responsibility for this, Commander Kor," he said. "Find your human, and if this fails, it is your life." Kor bowed slightly. "Understood," he said, and left the room. Days later, a Terran shuttle arrived in the hangar bay of Renthus Prime. The metal floor shook as the ship landed. The air hissed open, and a single human stepped out. He was tall, dressed in black combat armor, his face marked with old scars. His name was Commander Rafe. The aliens watched him from behind glass walls. Whispering among themselves, Rafe looked around slowly, his calm eyes scanning everything. There was something strange about his presence. Not pride, but quiet certainty. Kor walked forward, offering his hand in the human greeting. Rafe nodded once, his voice low. "You called for help," he said. "Tell me what I'm fighting." Kor activated a hologram. The creature appeared huge, spined, and full of fire. Its eyes burned red like twin suns. Its claws had shredded armor and bone. "We named it Zereth," Kor said. "We made it from our own DNA. Mixed with energy from your kind's research labs, it escaped during a test. It kills anything that moves." Rafe studied the hologram, then crossed his arms. "You tried to control something you didn't understand," he said. Kor nodded in shame. "It was meant to protect us, not destroy." For a long time, Rafe said nothing. He simply stared at the creature's projected image. The aliens waited, expecting fear or hesitation. Instead, Rafe smiled a little. "I've seen worse," he said. That single line spread through the room like a shockwave. The translators repeated it in every alien tongue, and whispers filled the chamber. "He's seen worse." One alien muttered, "Impossible." Rafe walked toward the armory bay, passing soldiers who stared in silence. He examined their weapons, energy rifles, plasma shields, heavy armor, all useless against Zereth. He placed them aside and picked only a small pulse blade and a wrist sensor. Kor followed, confused. "You're going in with only that?" He asked. "You will die." Rafe looked back, his voice calm. "If I die, then it wasn't meant to live." The hangar doors opened to reveal the dark void of space and the distant station where Zereth hid. Flames and wreckage floated around it like bones. Rafe stepped into the small dropship, his helmet under one arm. Before he left, Kor asked quietly, "Why do you do this, human?" Rafe paused, looking out at the stars. "Because monsters don't scare us," he said. "We made peace with them a long time ago." The engines roared, the ship launched into the black. And the alien crew watched as the human disappeared into the fire-lit void. None spoke, but all felt something strange hope, mixed with fear. Hours later, the signal showed Rafe's ship had landed on the derelict station. The creature's life signs were active, massive, moving fast. The alien council watched the feed in silence. Through the cameras, they saw Rafe walking down a ruined hallway, his footsteps echoing, his scanner blinking red. The walls were clawed and broken, the air thick with steam. From the darkness, two glowing red eyes opened. The alien officers gasped. "It found him," someone whispered. The creature stepped forward, enormous and silent, its breath shaking the ground. Rafe did not move. He just looked up, meeting its gaze, and for a moment, something ancient passed between them. Not fear, but recognition. The screen crackled, then turned to static. The connection broke. The aliens shouted, trying to restore the feed, but nothing worked. Only silence remained. Core stood still, his hands trembling. "He's gone," one officer said. But Core whispered, "No," his voice steady. "The human is not dead." Outside the window, a distant flash appeared where the station floated. The light pulsed once, twice, then faded. And somewhere in that darkness, the human's voice came through the static, low and calm. "Target found," he said. Beginning contact. The aliens froze. The creature was alive. The human was alive. And the galaxy had no idea what would happen next. The derelict station drifted in silence, orbiting the dead moon like a ghost. Its corridors were dark and filled with smoke, pieces of broken metal floating through the zero-gravity halls. Inside, Commander Rafe moved carefully, his boots clicking against the steel floor, each sound echoing like a heartbeat. His helmet light swept across walls covered with claw marks, deep and wide, like something had torn through pure iron. The air was thick with burnt carbon, the kind of smell that reminded him of old battlefields. Rafe's pulse scanner blinked red, warning of movement ahead, but he didn't draw his weapon. He whispered to his recorder, entering inner chamber. Heat signatures active. His calm voice echoed back through the comms. Miles away, the alien officers listened in tense silence. Watching the feed from his visor, Core stood behind the glass in the control room, his claws gripping the table. "Can he even fight that thing?" An officer asked. Core didn't answer. His eyes stayed fixed on the human screen. The scanner pulsed again, stronger this time. The creature was near. Rafe could feel the vibration through the floor, low and heavy, like a giant heartbeat shaking the station's bones. Then, from the darkness ahead, a shadow moved. It was massive, crawling through the corridor with the sound of grinding steel. Two glowing red eyes opened, filling the hall with a deadly red haze. The creature Zirith was larger than Rafe imagined. Black armor plates covering its body like living stone, long claws scraping the ground. It moved like it remembered pain, every breath a growl. Rafe didn't move. He stood still, lowering his weapon. The aliens watching screamed through the comms, "Fire! Human! Fire!" But he ignored them. Rafe took one slow step forward. "You don't need to fight me," he said quietly, his voice calm like someone talking to a frightened child. Zirith's head tilted slightly, confused. The monster let out a deep roar, hot wind sweeping through the corridor, shaking dust and debris from the ceiling. But Rafe didn't flinch. He looked straight into its burning eyes. "I know you," Rafe whispered. "I know what they did to you." Zirith's claws dug into the floor, leaving glowing marks. The energy sensor screamed, showing danger levels far beyond safety. In the control room, alarms began to flash. We have to pull him out. Someone shouted, but Kor shook his head, his voice low. Wait. The creature lunged forward with terrifying speed. Its claws stopped just inches from Rafe's chest. The force of its breath pushed him back. But he didn't fall. He didn't even blink. Kill him. The aliens shouted through the speakers. End it now. But Rafe slowly raised his hand, his palm open, no weapon, no threat. I'm not your enemy, he said. For a long moment, nothing moved. The creature's growl turned into a slow, rough breath, almost like confusion. Then something unexpected happened. Zirith leaned forward, sniffing the air around the human. It froze, its head tilting again, as if something deep inside its memory was waking. Rafe whispered, You remember me, don't you? The creature blinked slowly, its glowing eyes flickering from red to orange. Then dimming slightly, its claws loosened. Its body lowered an inch in the control room. The aliens were speechless. One of them whispered, It's... Obeying him, Rafe took another step, his hands still raised, his voice softer now. They hurt you, didn't they? Zirith let out a low sound, something between a growl and a whimper. It looked at the human, not with rage, but with something else: recognition. You're not a weapon, Rafe said quietly. You were made to protect, not destroy. Zirith made a slow movement. Lowering its head completely, the metal floor creaked beneath its weight. And then impossibly it knelt. In the control room, chaos erupted. The alien screamed. It's kneeling. The monster is kneeling to the human. Rafe didn't move. He just whispered, Easy now. His voice steady, his eyes calm. Then through the static of the coms, a deep, distorted voice came, rough and broken. Thanks. Father, boss. Everyone froze. No one spoke. The words repeated again, clearer. Thanks. Father, boss. The air went silent. Even the alarm stopped sounding. Kor's eyes widened, his heart racing. It spoke. He whispered, It can talk? Rafe's expression didn't change, but his voice was soft. I know who you are now, he said. And I know what they did to you. The creature made a slow sound, almost like breathing, its claws tapping lightly against the floor as if waiting for orders. In that moment, every alien watching knew they were seeing something the galaxy had never witnessed before. A human facing the most dangerous being ever created, and the creature bowing to him like a loyal soldier. Kor leaned close to the screen, whispering to himself, What are you, human? Rafe looked up at the camera feed, his calm eyes staring straight through it. He's not the monster you think he is, he said. You are. Then the feed cut to black. The station fell silent again. The creature and the human alone in the dark had changed everything. Far away, in the command ship, the alien council realized one truth that sent fear through their bones. If a human could tame the galaxy's deadliest monster, then no one was safe from what humanity could truly become. The control room was in chaos. Red warning lights flashed across the walls. Alarms howled through the ship, but no one could move. Every alien officer stood frozen, staring at the dark screen that had just shown the impossible. The creature Zirith had bowed. Not just lowered its head, but truly bowed before the human. And then it had spoken, Thanks, Father Boss. Kor's mind raced. His claws shook as he tried to restore the feed. Open the channel again, he ordered. I want to see what's happening down there. The technicians worked fast, keys clicking, but the image stayed black. Only faint static echoed through the speakers. And a voice came, low and calm. It was Rafe. Control. This is Commander Rafe, he said. Do not interfere. It's listening to me. Every alien turned to the sound. Relief and fear mixed together. He's alive, one whispered. Kor leaned close to the comm. Human, what did it say? He asked. Rafe's answer came slow. It said, Thanks, Father Boss, he repeated. his voice heavy. "It remembers me." The room went silent again. Kor didn't understand. "Remembers? How could it?" he asked. Rafe took a slow breath. "Because I helped make it," he said. Gasps filled the room. "You made it?" An officer shouted. Rafe's tone stayed calm. "Not this one, but others like it," he said. "A long time ago, before your people stole the program." The aliens exchanged horrified looks. Kor felt his chest tighten. "You mean this monster was human-made?" Rafe's voice softened. "Partly," he said. "It has human DNA in it. The same project your scientists copied. You made it cruel, but it was born from something that was never meant to hate." Down on the station, Zereth moved slowly around Rafe, its claws scraping lightly against the floor. Not in anger, but in caution. Its glowing eyes followed him like a child watching its parent. Rafe lowered his weapon completely and reached out his hand. The creature tilted its massive head, letting out a deep, rumbling breath. Steam rolled off its back, like smoke rising from a volcano. "You remember the lab, don't you?" Rafe said softly. "The lights, the noise, the pain." The creature shuddered, a low growl echoing from its chest, but it didn't attack. "It's okay now," Rafe whispered. "You're free." Through the com feed, the aliens listened, speechless. Every word the human spoke sounded like it reached deeper into the monster's mind. Zereth's claws touched the floor gently. It made a strange sound, soft and trembling, as if it was trying to speak again. "Fa. Thur. B.O. Ses." Rafe smiled faintly. "That's right," he said. "It's me." The creature let out a low, humming sound, almost peaceful. Its armor plates relaxed, glowing less brightly. For the first time since it had escaped, it didn't look like a weapon. Kor watched the screen, whispering to himself. "It's obeying him. It's like a soldier." Rafe knelt slightly, placing his hand against one of the creature's front claws. The surface was hot and rough, but he didn't pull away. "You were made to protect, not to destroy," he said. "They turned you into a monster, but that's not what you are." The creature lowered its head completely until its forehead touched the floor near his boots. The sound that came from it wasn't a roar. It was a deep, heavy sigh. Rafe whispered, "Rest now." At that moment, Kor felt something he hadn't felt in years. Respect. Not for the creature, but for the human. The one who stood before a beast that had ended armies and made it bow with only his voice. On the comm, Rafe spoke again. "Tell your council they built this thing without a heart. But it remembered me because humans gave it one," he said. "This creature isn't a weapon. It's a victim." The alien council back on Renthis Prime listened in silence as the transmission was relayed. The High Elder leaned forward, his eyes glowing dim. "If it remembers the human," he said, "then what happens when it remembers the pain?" Kor didn't answer. He kept watching as Rafe moved deeper into the station, the creature following him like a guardian. Its footsteps made the ground tremble, but there was no anger in its movement, only loyalty. "Where are you going?" Kor asked through the comm. Rafe replied, "There are more containment pods here," he said. "If this one escaped, others might have too." The room erupted in panic. "You mean there are more like it?" Kor asked. Rafe's voice came firm. "Yes, and if they wake up, they'll need someone to calm them." The connection flickered again. Static filled the air. Rafe's last words before it cut out were quiet but clear. "Don't send soldiers. You'll only make them remember the pain." Then the feed went dead. Silence filled the bridge. Every alien looked at Kor. Fear and awe mixed in their faces. "He said, 'Father boss,'" one whispered. "That's what the creature called him." Kor nodded slowly. "And it meant it," he said. "That wasn't just a word. It was loyalty." Outside the ship's windows, the dead moon turned slowly, and beyond it, the stars burned cold and bright. Somewhere in that darkness, a human walked beside the galaxy's deadliest creation. Not as its enemy, but as its father. The council members stood speechless. realizing something none of them had ever believed before. Humans did not rule through fear or power. They ruled through something much deeper: connection. And now that connection had reached even the monsters the galaxy itself feared. The alien council chamber was silent. The large crystal screens showed a frozen image of the human and the creature standing together in the ruined station. The feed had gone dark again, but what they had seen already shook the entire council to its core. The High Elder finally broke the silence, his voice heavy and slow. "A human created that thing," he said, "and now it obeys him." None of the council members spoke. They were all afraid to even breathe. Kor stood before them, his scales glimmering under the dim blue light. "He said it remembers him," Kor explained. "The creature called him Father Boss." The High Elder's eyes narrowed. "Then we must learn why," he said. "Bring the human back alive?" Kor shook his head. "We can't reach him. The comms are blocked, and the station is in ruins," he said. "If we try to pull him out, the creature might attack us." The Elder's voice rose, sharp and angry. "You brought this human here, Commander Kor. Now control him." Kor lowered his head. "I will try," he said quietly. Far below, in the half-collapsed station, Rafe walked slowly through the broken halls, Zirith following behind him like a silent mountain. The floor trembled under each step the creature took, but its claws were careful. Almost gentle, Rafe shined his helmet light across the walls. Each surface was scarred, burned, and covered in symbols from the old hybrid program. He felt a cold wave of memory run through him. He knew this place. He had seen it long ago, before everything went wrong. "This is where they copied our work," he said softly, his voice echoing off the metal walls. "They tried to make their own soldiers." The creature let out a low growl, a sound of pain more than anger. Rafe looked up at it. "You remember, don't you?" he said, through the comm. A faint voice broke in. It was Kor. "Human, what are you doing?" he asked. "Tell us what you found." Rafe pressed his wrist comm. "You wanted the truth?" he said. "Then listen carefully." He pointed his light toward a large metal door. On it were words burned into the steel hybrid program Phase 2. "This station isn't just a prison," Rafe said. "It's a factory." In the council chamber, the aliens gasped. "Factory?" One repeated. Rafe's voice continued, steady and cold. "Your people made more than one creature. They built an army, hundreds of them, each stronger than the last." Kor's throat tightened. "That's impossible," he said. "We shut the project down after the escape." Rafe's voice turned grim. "You didn't shut it down. You just lost control." He pushed open the heavy door. Inside were huge glass pods filled with dark fluid, and inside each one, something moved, shapes too large, too sharp, too alive. "They're still growing," Rafe whispered. "Still alive." The creature behind him, Zirith, let out a roar so deep it shook the entire hall. Its glowing eyes turned toward the pods. It remembered this place too. Rafe raised his hand, calming it. "Easy, easy," he said softly. "You're not one of them anymore." From the comms, Kor's voice came again. "What are you planning to do?" Rafe looked around the room, his voice heavy with decision. "End it," he said. Kor froze. "End it? You mean destroy them?" Rafe didn't answer immediately. He touched the side of one pod, watching the shape move inside, small, frightened, not yet awake. "They never asked to be made," he said quietly. "They don't deserve to suffer the same way." Zirith lowered its head, the glowing marks on its body pulsing faintly, as if it understood. Kor shouted through the comm, "Wait. If you destroy that place, we lose all data, all knowledge." Rafe's voice came back sharp. "That knowledge already destroyed half your fleets," he said. "Do you really want it again?" There was silence. In the council chamber, the High Elder slammed his staff against the floor. "We cannot allow a human to make such a choice," he roared. "Send the fleet to stop him." Kor looked up quickly. "If we attack, The creature will defend him. He warned, "You'll start a war you can't win." But the order was already given. Warships began to move toward the dead moon, engines burning bright down below. Rafe saw their signatures on his scanner. "They're coming," he muttered. He turned to Zirith. "Listen to me," he said. "When they arrive, they'll see you as a threat. But you are not their enemy." Zirith tilted its head, its deep voice rumbling softly. "Protect. Father Boss." Rafe smiled faintly. "Yeah, I know," he said. "But don't kill unless you must." Through the smoke, the creature lowered its head slightly, as if it truly understood. Then Rafe placed a small energy charge at the base of one pod. The timer started to blink. He moved quickly, setting charges on every other container. The room filled with red lights. In the command center of the fleet, alarms began to scream. "Energy spikes inside the lab," shouted an officer. "He's arming explosives." The High Elder's voice came cold and furious. "Stop him at once." But before the signal could reach him, Rafe's voice echoed one last time through the comm. Calm and final. "Tell your people the truth," he said. "Humans didn't build monsters. We built children, and you turned them into weapons." Then the feed exploded into static. A blinding light filled the darkness around the moon. The shockwave rippled through space, shaking the nearest ships. When the light faded, the station was gone. Only fragments drifting in silence. The council stared at the empty feed. Unable to speak, Kor whispered to himself. He destroyed it. The High Elder's eyes glowed cold. "And what of the creature?" he asked. Kor looked toward the sensor readings. His voice came slow. "It's still alive," he said, "and it's standing beside the human." Silence filled the chamber once more. The galaxy had just lost one of its darkest secrets, but something far greater had been born in its place. Trust between a human and a monster. And as the debris of the station drifted into the stars, one thing was clear. The truth had changed everything. The explosion had ended, and silence filled the empty void of space. The station was gone, shattered into drifting metal and ash. From the smoke came two signals, one human, one not. Commander Rafe stood on a fragment of the ruined platform. His armor cracked, his visor broken. Beside him towered Zirith, the creature scorched and bleeding, smoke rising from its armor plates, but still alive. Rafe looked up at the sky, where the alien fleet hovered, dozens of ships circling above. Weapons armed, energy cannons glowing blue. He sighed quietly. "They're scared," he said. Zirith growled low, its voice like thunder rolling through stone. "Protect." "Father Boss?" Rafe looked up at it, his voice calm but firm. "No, not this time," he said. "They're not our enemies. They just don't understand." Through the comms came a broken signal. "Commander Rafe, this is Kor." The alien's voice trembled. "You destroyed the station. The council is furious. They're preparing to fire." Rafe looked toward the fleet, his expression unreadable. "If they fire, they'll regret it," he said softly. "Tell them to stand down." Kor's voice broke again. "They won't listen to me," he said. "They think you control the monster." Rafe looked at Zirith, whose glowing eyes dimmed slightly. "I don't control it," Rafe said. "I earned its trust." On the command ship, the High Elder's voice roared through the speakers. "Fire all batteries. End them both before it's too late." Energy beams lit the dark sky, blue streaks cutting across the silence of space. They struck the platform below, fire and shockwaves spreading in every direction. When the light faded, the scanner showed two figures still standing. The creature's massive wings of armor had expanded, forming a shield around Rafe. The blasts had struck its back, earning deep wounds, but Rafe was untouched. The alien crews froze in disbelief. "It's protecting him," one whispered. Inside the smoke, Rafe placed his hand on the creature's claw. "You didn't have to do that," he said. Zirith lowered its head, its voice faint. "Protect." "Father Boss." Rafe felt something heavy inside his chest. "Rest, you've done enough," he whispered. But the creature raised its head again. Looking toward the sky, hundreds of ships hovered there, their weapons glowing brighter, preparing for another strike. Zirith turned to Rafe. "Permission." "To fight, Father Boss." Rafe stayed silent for a moment, and nodded once. "Permission granted." He said. The creature let out a roar that shook the stars. It launched upward with impossible force, slamming into the nearest warship. The impact shattered metal like glass. The fleet opened fire, but it didn't matter. Zirith tore through their formation like a living storm. Kor watched from the command ship, his eyes wide with horror and awe. "It's not attacking us," he realized. "It's protecting the human from our fire." The battle raged for minutes that felt like hours. And then, slowly, the energy readings began to fade. One by one, the ships ceased firing. The High Elder screamed for them to continue, but no one moved. They had all seen enough. Through the viewing glass, Kor saw Zirith fall back toward the broken moon, its body glowing faintly with burning plasma. It hit the surface with a deep crash that sent dust flying into orbit. Rafe ran toward it, his movements heavy, his lungs burning. He reached the creature's side. It was still alive, but barely breathing. Zirith's voice came weak and broken. "Did we protect?" Rafe knelt beside it, placing a hand against its head. "You did," he said softly. "You protected everyone." The creature's massive eyes flickered. The light inside them dimmed slowly. "Thanks, Father Boss," it whispered. Then it stopped moving. Rafe sat there for a long time, the stars reflecting in his cracked visor. His hand stayed on the creature's head, as if he could still feel the warmth of life beneath the metal skin. Kor's ship descended slowly. The alien soldiers standing in silence as they watched the human kneel beside the fallen creature. None dared to approach. None dared to speak. Kor finally stepped forward, his voice quiet. "It saved us all." Rafe didn't look up. His voice came low. "It wasn't a monster. It was what we made it to be, loyal." Kor nodded slowly, his eyes softening. "And it called you Father Boss," he said. "Now I understand why." Rafe stood slowly, looking at the stars above. "The galaxy fears humans," he said. "But maybe it should start learning from us instead." Behind him, the wreckage glowed faintly, a light drifting from Zirith's body into the sky, like a soul returning to the stars. Kor whispered, "What will you do now?" Rafe looked toward the horizon. "The truth is out," he said. "They'll hunt me for what I've done, but I don't care." He placed his hand one last time on the creature's armor. "Rest now, soldier," he whispered. "You earned it." As he turned to leave, the alien soldiers lowered their weapons, bowing their heads in silent respect. For the first time in their history, they bowed not to power, not to fear, but to honor. The High Elder watched the scene from his distant ship, his voice trembling. "A human made our greatest weapon kneel, and then taught it mercy," he said quietly. "Perhaps the galaxy has misunderstood what strength truly is." Rafe's shuttle lifted off slowly, the engines humming through the silence. He looked down one last time at the massive body of the creature that once terrified entire worlds. Now it lay still, peaceful, its final expression calm, its final words echoing in his memory. "Thanks, Father Boss." And as the ship rose higher into the dark sea of stars, Rafe whispered to himself, "Goodbye, my friend." The stars shimmered brighter for a moment, as if saluting the fallen, and then the human ship disappeared into the endless night. The legend of the human and the creature would spread across the galaxy, whispered in every language, told in every corner of the stars. They would call it the Bow of Loyalty. The day the deadliest monster the galaxy had ever known knelt before a human not in fear, but in love.